think I'm going to get started so we can finish and then continue chatting. So my name is Carolina, and I'm a filmmaker. I found out about Segura Ura last Friday, and I was asked to come today and talk about my process of being an artist. And I've also been very lucky for the past 2 days to be part of Mini Drift, which we've been deconstructing the process of being an artist and working with other artists in the room and testing new things out and just trying new things and experimenting new things. So when thinking about talking about my process of being an artist, the best place to start is about my story of migration. So that's what I'll be focusing on today. I was born in Santa C-section, and the cord all wrapped around my neck and stuff. And I was the second because I had an older sister. And we lived in the Dominican Republic with all my father's family who was there. Let me just sort of along with it. So feel free to listen to me and to watch the visuals at the same time. So then we moved to Colombia. My mother's Colombian. Can everyone hear me okay? Lower? So my mother's Colombian and we moved to Colombia. We lived there about a year. And right after we moved, it was my 3rd birthday. So I grew up in a mixed house of Colombian and Dominican background. And then I was about 4, we moved to Ohio, which is in Middle America. My dad was doing a master's there. My brother was born there. So we were a family of 5. In the cold, with snowsuits on, Caribbean people, and we had no family around. We were living with food stamps because my parents were young and they had 3 kids and stuff. And so yeah, fast forward all that, I grew up in Miami. So from Ohio, I moved to Miami, and I've lived in Miami lots of years. I had all my schooling there, high school and things like that. So the way this relates to being an artist is that I first started doing photography in Miami and developing prints in the darkroom. And then I moved over to Tallahassee, which is where I studied. Oh no, let me talk about Miami for a little bit longer. So Miami is a city that's very Latin American that just so happens to be in the United States, but it is completely Latin, full of Cubans, Haitians, Colombians, Brazilians, Venezuelans, Puerto Ricans. Everybody is of Spanish descent living in Miami. And it's a big, big city, just like that in Colombia. So I'm used to traffic jams and lots of people and crowds, and not used to towns like everything is 24/7. If you need to print something on a USB stick, you can do it at 3 in the morning. You can buy food at 3 in the morning. So their nightlife and day life is all mixed. It's very hot, so you don't need to worry about wearing different clothes in the day and the night. So then I moved to London, and then I moved to Wales. So now I'm in Wales, and yeah. So this is. Yeah, so I'm going to talk more about London, but this video is going quite fast. Yeah, so this is in Colombia, and the video before was in Colombia as well. It's a collective that I started of Welsh and Colombian artists called Cuatro Ojos. And Cuatro Ojos is a desire from myself to find out more about a country I'm from, but don't know that much about. Colombia, if you think it's dangerous, unfortunately you're right. In Colombia you could get held up at gunpoint, you could get your car hijacked, there's lots of violence. Even though that was more the 80s and 90s things, now people are allowed to go out into the countryside and it's much safer. But my desire to collaborate, seeing what Colombians are doing now in the year 2000 and something, was really, really big. So with the help of Wales Arts International and a bit of support from British Council, my partner and I went out to Colombia, and we didn't find the residency we wanted, or we didn't find a group of artists doing something that would, an organization that would support us, so we created a collective of artists. Before going out there, we did lots of dialogue work online. And, okay, so this is Wales now. Cuatro Ojos means 4 eyes, and the whole purpose of Cuatro Ojos is to look at your city with new eyes and to re-envision something that if you've been living in the city your whole life and you walk down a street corner, it's the same street corner. But if you do a huge performance piece where you invite people to put their feet into paint and dance, you create new memories. So through artist interventions, which in 4 weeks we created 7 quite big interventions with our collective of artists in Colombia. And we tried to bring them back here, and that failed. We were partnered up with a few organizations and funding fell through. So instead of trying to bring them over, which didn't work, we're doing lots of collaborating online. We have a Sancocho de Ojo, which is Proyecto 365, Project 365. So we have, I think, 47 artists on board. They take a photo a day, upload it to our Tumblr site. We're really open source. We try to use things that exist and use materials that exist and recycle them. So each artist uploads a photo a day, and it's a network that we have where we can comment on each other's posts. We also curate videos that we find interesting on another site. So we have, I think, 6 artists over there and myself over here. If you guys know anyone in Wales that wants to take part, that would be great. So we curate videos online and we create events, social design events that can engage the community without them thinking they're becoming engaged. So we bring artists, we bring people together who might not want to go to a gallery and see work. So we do lots of street performance. And this is Cardiff. So this group is called Cardiff City Kings. They're a breakdancing group. And they get together, I think, 3 or 4 times a year and have b-boy and b-girl jams. And they highlight graffiti, breakdancing, and DJing. And luckily I go along and film parts of it. So so all these videos are projects I've put on and then as a filmmaker created videos. Is there a question? This is Catay's Community Center. This was, so artists come from, international artists from Exeter came all the way to, and we had people come from Birmingham, and then we had people all around the valleys and these things. And I'm friends mainly with the graffiti artists, and we put things on, lots of pop-up shows. So there's a Riverside Cardiff Market, and they sell prints, lots of screen printing.
Wow.
No, there's B-girls as well, so there's some girls. That's a girl there. Bringing people together and creating collaborative pieces without any need for an end product, so to see what comes from it, and that's exactly what Cuatro Ojos is. Cuatro Ojos is a place to experiment, test new things out, try things out, and because we are far away, we connect digitally and we put things on digitally. I'm not sure what's next. Oh, I need to. Oh yeah. I'm going to end now. So after this slide will be lots of archive material from all over YouTube, all over Vimeo, and the BBC archives. I've been on a Covled training course, and then I'll put the volume up and stuff.
I'm happy to be here with you, and I'd like to enjoy being here.
For more than a year, ominous rumors have been privately circulating.
I realize what I'm about to say comes a great shock. However, I'm confident you will respond appropriately.
When I was a kid, we used to play a game.
Okay, wow, that was a lot faster than I thought it would be. I had all my notes and left things out. But I think the biggest thing I wanted to get across is how migration has influenced myself and my art. There's the circle right now. And as well, I think one of my biggest moves has been that from Miami to London when I was doing a master's at the Slade, which was 2005. And lots of people ask me what I'm doing in Wales, and lots of it has to do with falling in love in London and falling in love with an amazing North Walian and learning lots about Welsh culture and Welsh life. And admittedly, it's a country I had never even heard of, and now I live here, so it's been lots of research, lots of searching, lots of figuring things out to even, you know, like the little things about cultures and about languages. I speak English, but the language is still so different, and the way people express themselves is so different. And now it's much, much easier. I've been here 7 years, and I go back to Miami a lot and back to Colombia a lot. But it's been really big in my move, and when last Friday when I was asked to talk about my process, I thought half an hour would be a long time and I wouldn't know how to fill it, but we're already, I think, halfway through, so that's pretty good. I think figuring out what I do and why I do it is important for me to show the visuals at the same time. So now I invite you all to close your eyes and take a moment to think. Think about a move in your life, when you moved from one place to another place, or a time when you thought about moving from one place to another place. For you, this should be a major move, perhaps a turning point in your life. Think about the season, the space, and the environment you were in. Okay, everyone open your eyes now. Has everyone thought of one specific move? I think it would be really interesting if we go around the room and share why it was that we were moving. And I'll kick us off, and I'll say that I was moving to search for something and to start again. That was what I was
well, I thought about when I moved from Brazil to the UK to work, but it was a shift. So, yeah.
I thought about a move that I did from the UK to France. I wanted to go and be immersed in another culture, learn another language, and I went somewhere where I didn't speak the language, and very few people there spoke English.
I thought of my move from Ireland to Wales because of a person I wanted to be closer to the person I was in love with, who lives in Gloucester.
I thought about my move from Bristol to Swansea because that's where opportunities were for me and where I did my work growing up.
And I thought about a move I made this year, which was only 4 miles, 5 miles down the road, that was moving out from what I thought was my home and very significant relationship to a new life and a kind of transition and role of shedding many things which sees me here.
I thought of a move which was to leave behind a difficult situation and upwards in order to start something and embrace it new, but also give them time to figure out how to re-engage those loved ones and sort out that security aspect and suspect it typically as well.
I thought of moving from England to Poland at the age of 21 because it is a place about which I knew almost nothing.
I thought about moving from Leeds to Cardiff and study.
I thought about moving from London to Brighton and moving a few days after Christmas, and I remember how pathetic the Christmas lights on the sort of main street in Brighton compared to Regent Street looked. Really bit stints and things. And then going down the end of that street, I'm wheeling a 2-year-old in a pushchair on a desolate seafront and going down the pier by myself, and there hardly anyone else being on it, and thinking, what have I done?
I can think of you in Brighton.
I love it now.
I thought about when I left my village, I was 19, and that was a big decision because I went to live in São Paulo. And from that moment to now, I turned into who I am. I think it was very important.
I thought about a move that I made about 5 years ago from London to Istanbul. And it was a temporary move, but I did it to challenge myself, to get out of my comfort zone, because I didn't know what I was capable of doing.
Of all the moves I've made, I thought of the one I made when I was 18 from Belfast and North of Ireland to Dublin and South of Ireland, and how romantic it seems in living that.
Yes, of all the moves I made, the one that came to me was the one that I made involuntarily. When my mother left us, and my father couldn't really cope, and so I had to go into a children's home, which wasn't really a move that I made.
I thought about moving out of Brazil to the UK, and the possible things that might have influenced me, including being quite admiring the UK for its sort of ban on firearms, so that's what the information I had, and watching Mr. Bean every Sunday.
Right, so thinking about the move you just talked about, think about who you made that move with, and we'll go around in a circle now this way. I'll kick us off. I made the move by myself.
I made the move by myself.
I made a move with my little brother.
I think I made a move with my dad driving all my stuff down to
Yeah, by myself. But I left my mum, but I was living with my older sister, so I was still in family.
I made the move with my husband and then only child,
a couple of friends who ended up studying the same thing as me.
By myself.
For myself?
By myself. With Emma Kenny.
Of course.
By myself.
Lovely. So I just want to highlight how big decisions in our life are. It's important to think about why you're doing them and who you're doing them with. And especially today, we've been talking so much about cross cultures, cross collaboration. So it's really important to think about who we are and why we do what we do. And I think the reason I'm talking about this is because that's what I've been doing for the past 2 days, and that's what I was invited here to do. So never lose sight of that, and keep reminding yourself about that. So now we'll create a collective story of migration, and keeping some truth to what we say, we'll go around in a circle, and we'll go one by one, we'll go around the circle once, and you'll say something leading on from what the previous person said. So we'll go around this way, and remember we're creating a story, and keep some truth about that move that you talked about.
Are you starting?
Yes, I'm sorry, is that okay? Wait a second. The weather was very different when I arrived.
But it was lovely.
I couldn't believe how clean the water was.
I was crying a lot.
Because my dad was driving, but I felt I was on my own.
I might as well have been on my own because he didn't speak to me for the whole journey because he was so angry.
I was leaving you behind. It's time of need.
As I waved goodbye to him, I noticed a soldier holding a gun.
I felt I had so much to learn. And I felt I'd made a really big mistake at that moment.
Wow. Because I don't know what to do now. I keep thinking about that moment and I wish I could have done it differently.
I had loads of new friends, so I would actually be up and sit thinking about it.
So I sat at home in my new space in Waterloo Road watching the leaves fall and meditating on the next phase of my
And then I probably put the television on looking for Scooby-Doo because I was in 10.
And then decided not to have a TV at all for the first 2 years at this new place.
Did you watch Mississippi?
Never seen it before.
So it was coming off early. So the last 2 years were a stepping stone to who I am today. So the way we create stories and narratives and the way we tell stories as storytellers has a lot to do with the people around us. If they're directly influencing the story the way we have now, or if they walk down the street, or if we live with them, or if they're one of our main collaborators, or if they're our funders, or if they're our child, or, you know, people around us have a big, big importance in our life. And I want to try something out. I want to try to create now a story, keeping some truth to it again, about a Wales and Brazil collaboration and how that would happen. No, not how it would happen, not how it would happen, but let's say, well, again, leading off from what the previous person said, but we are creating a story, so it should have a beginning, a middle, and an end about a collaboration between Brazil and Wales. Does anybody want to start? Can anyone think of an opening line?
I was a really good swimmer, so I set out from Swansea and headed for Salvador.
All right, and then we'll go around this way.
Which way?
This way.
Okay. But I needed some armbands because I was very good at swimming, and I had quite a lot of help along the way.
Oh yes. Lifting that big whale, which was very friendly, and I wasn't friendly at all.
Well, luckily, the big whale made its way from Wales to Salvador and spat me out on this incredibly crowded beach, which is just like really narrow and had 20 million people trying to like sunbathe at the same time, a bit of sand and loads of people coming around selling beer and coca loco and smoking cigarettes, and suddenly it got dark
And I thought, there's a full moon, let's have a full moon party. So I started it, and 200 people came.
And I thought, hey, I bet there's people in Swansea who'd love to join this party. So I switched on a digital link.
And I called the whale back, and he told me how to call it back, and said, I'm going to tell people in Swansea digitally how great this party is. Can you pick them up on the road? So he set off on his road when I started doing my Skype. There's something.
Whatever it was.
And before he left, I packed in a little parcel of special Brazilian handmade swimming costumes for everybody in Swansea to experience. And he duly delivered the ones he'd already packed that hadn't told me about, which were the traditional Welsh swimming costumes that now everybody at the party had to put on and digitally share.
And as we all know, the traditional Swansea swimwear on a Friday night in Wine Street is a mankini. As they all donned them and listened to DJ Marky.
I also sent this man from Brazil who, on the way back, taught all the people from Swansea how to speak Portuguese.
And once I'd learned how to speak Portuguese, they then went back in the digital link all the way back over to Brazil and started to teach the people there how to speak a traditional Brazilian greeting, but in Welsh.
It was fantastic because most of the children were completely motivated to speak both languages, so it was a connection already, and everybody was wearing sandalias havaianas and when they are reaching the beach. You know sandalias havaianas, the famous sandals in Havaianas. Flip-flops.
So across the beach, a Brazilian boy looked at another Welsh boy, and their eyes met.
And then someone appeared, almost like a hologram, and taught all the kids how to make the sand float so they could create a shared beach above the whale track that was starting to form.
And then up there, what happened? There was this third space. All these kids were meeting. There was this beautiful love story between a Brazilian boy and a Welsh boy. And they had a civil partnership ceremony, and all the fishes and the whale was the bridesmaid, and the fishes and the children.
All the maids and all that?
Yeah, the bridesmaids. Fish maids. Mermaids from Mermaids wearing flip-flops.
Lovely.
No, the hen party on Wednesday.
So it might be a bit redundant to highlight how simple it is to form stories and connections and links between other people. And I think it's time that we need, and time to share and time to experiment together. And even though lots of my experience in creating international work is in Miami and Colombia, I think there's lots of similarities. To create something that is between Brazil and Wales, that can't be between Colombia and Wales. So even though there are lots of similarities, and I'll give you a few examples, people in Colombia are always late as well. Colombia has huge cities, just like Brazil, and I think the whole of South America has lots of similarities, and then, as in every country, there's lots of differences, even within the its own country. So villages compared to mega cities and traffic and cars and the way people live, but even climate, mountains, landscapes, all these things are different, but it's also, we were highlighting today a lot of the things that make Brazil unique, but as well Brazil is part of a big continent, and that continent, even though Brazil is the only country, sorry, let me rephrase that. The countries around Brazil don't speak the same languages as Brazil, and the countries around Wales don't speak the same languages as Wales do. But I think there are lots of similarities, and there is a somewhat battle between Wales and England. Sometimes not, but you know, there are lots of things in common as well. So there's things that make the countries unique. So I think creating a piece that is specific to each country that can't actually be done in another country is a challenge, but I think with time it can be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for closing us today.
Thank yous and thank yous and thank yous. And I think I would like to hold on to the idea that one of the most precious things that we are putting forward here is our time. And I understand someone like you, Victoria, who isn't even from Wales.
I live in Cardiff.
Oh, okay. Hey, I knew that all along. I knew that all along. I was just but in any case, to put a day of your time to meet people and talk as well as everyone else is what can make things happen meaningfully. And if we extend that notion to days and weeks and months and investment in people and time, I think is what the sort of groundwork needs to be for this kind of event and ambition over a long period of time. So beyond 2016, what can really be developed and sourced and thought about. So thank you for your time, and thank you, John, for co-hosting the event without knowing really much what it was about, but trusting that there was something there worth hosting. And thank you, Abdul, thank you, Brian, thank you, Christina, thank you, everyone. I must have just said everyone's names.
Thank you, the
micro-commissions. Which are the soul of the work we do.
Ready to perform a little something in the centre of the
with your bongos, yeah. He's a professional bongo player, yeah. So yeah, thank you very much. And I don't want to sort of close in silence, so if you want to say anything, please do. Or we might as well just move to the drinks and take our time over there.
Can I just say, the ballroom party did bring you fancy in Brazil.
Well, I really was on the beach in Salvador. The moment it got dark, it someone else would be back. But I didn't start it.
Just set the record straight.
Just to, well, we need to go because we have a train. But thank you so much for you both inviting and for the opportunity of really share what we are doing in terms of thinking Brazil and the UK, and all your inputs was so important. So it was a very very good day, very enriching for me, and I hope for you. And let's keep on working together. Keep the links.
Sure we will. I mean, I think there's a couple of things, sort of one reasonably institutional thing and one reasonably organic thing, but particularly from our day. And the two person doesn't know what they are, but they're both fun. So one to look at how we can make this space for our artists to find each other, on quite a simple level. Starting on Monday with the artists from the community, at the Lord Joy, and invite people to, and maybe build in January when we have the collaboration space. And then on a more institutional level, we're going to pull together maybe since Arts Council and Dan from British Council, where we were both here at the same time.
You're not the same person, are you?
Oh,
ideas that range from very specific projects through to how institutions change each other. So we'll bring that, we'll bring a meeting together of sort of key organisations in Wales, but try and keep that informed by the kind of ideas from artists that are coming through today, rather than just a institution.
Just to say, I was in here for a short while, but it was inspirational. So
You lost, you missed the disco.
Inspiring on us.
Were you watching the live stream?
There's a Hellish of Death as well, and then the whole Ready to move the drinks?
Kai is the representation of Brazil capable.
Yeah.